you have soul. You have solar plexus. That is the soul. Now, the soul's journey is all about the 9 dimensions. It's all about the evolution of the human being, both the physical and the soul. So bear in mind that as a new being, you have soul, but the soul is young as is being created from the flesh. Bear in mind that as the soul descends from the 8th dimension all the way to the 3rd dimension, this material world, as young as the baby is in its first ever evolution, the same way the soul is young in his or her first ever evolution. So the soul must grow all the way back to the 9th dimension. All the way back to the 9th dimension. So, if you are being born, and let's say it is your first ever evolution, that is a fresh soul, new soul. You have to go through all the 9 dimensions. From the 3rd dimension, the very first dimension is the amino acid, that living cell that became diversified animals. So when they become diversified animals, that is what the 2nd dimension. When the diversified animals, some of them stood on their toes to become Homo erectus, and of course, some of the gods came in to upgrade them to Homo sapien to become humans. The human stage is the 3rd dimension. So Adam's world is a 3rd dimensional world. This planet Earth is a 3rd dimensional world. This physical world, this material world is the 3rd dimension. That's the physical world. That's the world of the man. Now, the 4th dimension, this man, since he has soul, when the soul connects, I'm saying after 28 years, the whole complete being, you as a new being, your body, your spirit, and your soul, everything is complete in you. So you now have to go through evolution, acquiring knowledge and experience, both for the left brain and for the right brain. I've told you already that the left brain is for scientific knowledge and the right brain is for what? Esoteric knowledge. So every human being is on earth for 2 purposes. That is development of the soul and development of the mind, because the soul lives in the mind. The soul feeds from the mind. So the knowledge you acquire physically, that is what the soul knows. That's what the souls have. So physically, if you don't acquire enough knowledge, your soul also have not enough knowledge. There are a lot of teachings on the purpose of man. Answering the questions why, where, when, and how. But I tell you straight away from the Akashic records, the purpose of man, the purpose of humans on any evolution, on any planet is two. 1, development of the mind. 2, development of the soul. These are the only 2 purposes. You are not here to worship anything. You are only worshiping because it is dark age. Because dark age, humans are submerged, are put in prison, are caged. They take your will, power from you. So it's like you are not of your own. You are not a master of your own. You are a servant to somebody. You are a slave to somebody. So a God must lead you. So you are being guided. You are being led. You are being taught everything you're supposed to do. That is dark age. But when dark age is over, the Father requires you to leave dark age, then live a life of golden age, where you live like a God. You live on your own. You control your life. You have to gain knowledge and experience and live by it. So the soul goes through evolution. Nubians, especially the redeemed and the golden breeders, listen and listen carefully. This is where the point is. This is what I want you to know. That's why I've taken my time explaining the soul to you. You have been deceived for long. You don't know what the soul is. You don't know the actual meaning of the soul, the actual work of the soul. The soul, I'm saying, you are two, double you. One of you is the physical being and the spirit, and the second one is the soul. That's the spirit, your spiritual being. When you sleep, you see yourself. That self you see is the soul. It's an energy. It's ether. It's pure energy. It's etheric. Pure energy with a higher vibration. But if you don't develop it, it has no power. So now, from the third dimension, the material world, the fourth dimension, this is where the man or the human has to develop the left brain and the right brain. Listen and listen very carefully. I'm talking about the soul. The fourth dimension, this is where man has to develop the left brain and the right brain. The fourth dimension is the plane of force. So the plane of force is where the two forces come to play, the voluntary force and the involuntary force. So this living cell, after becoming animals, then becoming humans, the next stage, the fourth dimension, is where the human with consciousness has voluntary and involuntary actions. He has this force in the mind or on the mind, which forces him to do some things. And the other one, he does it on his or her own. Voluntarily, he'll think, oh, I want to travel. I want to go to school. I want to call my mom. I want to go to town. And there's an involuntary force that speaks to the human being. Or I want to go to town. Don't go, it's too late. That indirect force, that indirect communication in the mind is the involuntary force. Listen and listen very carefully. Some people used to say, oh, something was speaking to me. I was hearing some voice. So my mind was saying, I had wanted to go here, but my mind was telling me, don't go. I had wanted to buy this. My mind was telling me, don't buy. Oh, and indeed, I didn't buy it. I have bought it. It was a waste of money. Oh, if I went, I had an accident. My mind was telling me not to go, and I didn't go. That my mind is the involuntary force in you. So it is these two forces that human being you have to master. So in all these dimensions, the human being is meant to master every stage so that the soul can grow. So the fourth dimension, man or humans, you human beings, listen and listen very carefully. You are meant to master these two forces, the voluntary and involuntary force. Decision making, this is decision making. So every human being, you are required to master decision making in your mind. These two forces is the forces of good and evil. So every human being is supposed to master good and master evil. So you must master good over evil. I want to steal this. Oh, my mind is telling me don't steal it. Oh, I want to hurt this guy. Something is telling me not to hurt him. I want to war with this guy. Oh, something is telling me not to war him. I'm pissed off. I want to kick him. Something is telling me not to kick him. That thing that is telling not to kick him is the involuntary force. That is your guardians who are talking to you, your guardian angels who are talking to you. So you have control of the voluntary, and the involuntary is the spiritual. That's the, I'm saying, the W, your other side, the soul. That's the beginning of the soul. The beginning of the soul. So listen and listen very carefully. You have to master good over evil. You know, in the 9 universal principles, which Dark Age gave you 7, and I, Prophet R33, have given you all the 9 universal laws. I've added the 2. The 2 are the law of repetition, and the law of existence. In those 9 universal laws, one of them is polarity. The law of polarity says that there is two sides of everything. So this law, two sides of everything, that's what you are supposed to master. That's what you master at the 4th dimension, the voluntary and the involuntary force. So in your decision making, in your entire life, everything you do, the universe is requesting from you to be able to master right over wrong, good over evil. That's the 4th dimension. That's the first stage of developing the soul. So you Nubians, especially the redeemed and the golden builders, who have been asking me about the soul, how to train my soul, how to develop my soul. I want my soul to be powerful. This is where it starts from. You are so wicked. You are emotionless. You have no sympathy. You vibrate more on your voluntary actions. What you want to do, that's what you do. What you want to do, that's what you follow. You don't listen to advice. You don't listen to the involuntary action of your mind. That's the soul. The soul is talking to you. Don't do it. Don't do it. And you go ahead to do it. So if you cannot master the voluntary and involuntary action, you can never move forward to the 5th dimension. Listen and listen very good. They talk about the soul, but they know nothing about the soul. That is why the Father has sent us to teach you the reality of your world. And today I'm teaching you the reality of the soul. The first stage of developing the soul is you able to master the voluntary and involuntary actions in your mind. It is not easy, but with determination, you can make it. Because you have to pass this before you are being promoted to the 5th dimension. If you don't pass, in all your incarnations, you see that when you come, you still have the problem of controlling your mind, doing good from bad, doing right from wrong. Let me give you an example. As I sit here, because I have passed that level, everything I do, I think twice. I think about the opposite person. So in life, it's like I live for people. I always look for the effect of my actions on them. And I always swallow. I'm not a fool, because I'm not supposed to harm any soul. Anything I do, I make sure I think about the other person. I always think about the negative before I act. Anything I do, I am my own judge. I judge. I look at both sides of the case, and I judge before I take action. So in the middle here, that is where the soul sits. So he's waiting for you to balance the two. So if you are able to balance the left and the right, voluntary and involuntary actions, then the soul is gaining strength, is developing bit by bit. If you cannot make right decisions, if you cannot listen to your inner voice, your inner mind, then how can the soul develop? Because going up is higher dimension, a higher task ahead. That is why even in society, we don't put just anybody in position. We need people who are experienced, who have the knowledge, who have the work ethic to do the work. Those are the people we put in position. So brother, listen and listen very carefully. Now, the second stage is the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension is the spiritual world. Here, the spiritual world, this is where emotions are formed. You see, as I told you, in that age, they gave you they taught you a lot of Hindu spirituality. So they mix things up. I'm giving you exactly how it is written or recorded in the Akashic records. How the dimensions have been arranged. so that you know how the development is. You know your stage where you have reached, so that you work harder towards upgrading yourself or towards ascending to higher dimensions. The fifth dimension or the fifth stage or the fifth plane, yeah, is the spiritual plane. The spiritual plane. You know, if we are talking about the seven planes or the seven heavens, then the spiritual plane, which is the fifth dimension, yeah, will actually be the third. Because we start first heaven will be the third dimension, second heaven will be the second dimension, then third heaven will be what? The third dimension. But here I am giving you the 9 dimensions. So I started from the very first, which normally people don't talk about because they don't know. The first dimension is the amino acid or the first living cell dimension. The second dimension is the animal dimension. So the fifth or the third in this case, when we are talking about the 7 planes, it will be the third. But when we talk about the 9 dimensions, it will be the fifth. The fifth is the spiritual plane or the spiritual dimension. And the spiritual dimension is the emotional dimension. This is where emotions are formed. So now the human being, since he's able to decipher good, evil, negative, positive, that's the law of polarity. Now, since this is about decisions, emotions come in. Because the decision you take, the implications will show whether you will react or you will not react. And from reactions, your reactions are from emotions. So now emotions are formed. So the human being has now developed emotions. So emotions are formed. So here you are supposed to master your emotions. And I can see majority of you, the redeemed and the golden builders, this is where you have gotten to. This is your stage. Majority of you, this is your stage. And indeed, Ghana as a whole, Africa as a whole, majority of you are in this stage, the third plane or the fifth dimension, the dimension of emotions. You have to control, you have to master your emotions. You have to master your emotions. This is the second stage of the soul developing your soul. You have to master emotions. Some of you are so emotional. That is why the father will make sure they give birth to you on dates that are emotional numbers, like 2, 7. If you are born on 22nd, double 2, that's double emotional. If you are born on any year where when you add the year, you get 2, like the year 2000 is 2. Yeah? The year 2000 is 2. You get 2. So, brethren, don't think life is about the movies, it's about the phones, it's about fashion, it's about social media. No. These are just things that came up along the way during your journey. But you are here to develop your mind with knowledge, physical knowledge, science, then develop your soul. And I've told you the soul is spiritual, the soul is ether, the soul is energy. So it deals with things that you cannot use your physical eyes to see. Voluntary and involuntary, that is the first stage of developing the soul. The second stage is emotions. Master your emotions. You are so emotional. You cannot forgive, you cannot forget. You are very revengeful. You don't have sympathy. You don't have love. That is why they taught you that love covers all. Love is all, the greatest. There are a lot of gifts, but love is all, because the highest form of mastering your emotion is to raise the bar of love higher. With love, you're able to master your emotions. Because you have to think from the angle of love that, after all, what is human being? What has he or she done to me that I cannot forgive? Where am I even sending this world to? People are in prison. People are dead. People have had an accident. A lot of things have happened. But you are alive, so you should be able to forgive and forget. Is it about your husband? Is it about your wife, your boss, your friend, your family members? Is it an issue? Is it about money? What is it about? Anything that when you leave this world, you cannot go with the soul, brother, know that it is material. Anything that when you die, that you can never go with the soul, your car, your wife, your husband, your children, your money, your business, your position, your certificate, including this physical body. And this physical body, including the genitals, the sexual organ, both the male and female. You can never send all this with you, with the soul, to the spiritual world. You leave everything here. So know that the penis and the V are all material. Don't die on it. Don't vibrate on it and die on it. Don't fight on it. Don't have ego on it. Don't be championing yourself about fashion, about social media. All these are not needed for the mind and soul development. These are just fancy of life. Of course, you have to enjoy them, but you're not supposed to put your whole being on them. You are here to master the mind, develop the mind, and develop the soul. That is why you're here. So if you cannot master your emotions, how can the soul develop? That's the second stage of the soul development. To develop your soul is to master emotions. Because imagine if the higher gods, they are so emotional, they would have killed all of us. There wouldn't be any forgiveness. There wouldn't be any free gift of life. See, the Father has given you life. That is the sun, and you are enjoying it. Should he be emotional? Anytime you sin, he'll just take your life. Because you are in evolution, ascending all the way back to the Father, back to the ninth dimension, you have to purify, you have to master and become the finest, pure energy. They don't teach you this. They teach you things of this world. So when you die, your soul has no knowledge of the universe. But that right time is here. We are here to teach you. So the second stage is the soul. Of the soul development is mastering emotions. Some of you are so jealous, backbiting, gossip, enmity, no sympathy, no mercy, wicked. Master your emotions. Good over evil. Good over evil. So brethren, the W, the other side of you is the soul. And this physical one, you have to make sure you balance. So it is out of your soul that you can create. It is out of your soul that you become God. There's a stage where when you reach, that is where your soul becomes God. So in this golden age, a lot of teachers are screaming, are teaching you, you are God. Yes, I am also teaching you are God. But today I'm telling you the reality. You are not God until you reach that stage. That is why you cannot create. That is why you cannot get download. That's why you cannot get visions. That's why your soul cannot travel. Because you have not gotten to that stage. So you are in the stage of developing. You have not even mastered emotions. You want to claim God. God over who? Because when you become a God, the Creator will give you subject that you rule upon, that you teach, that you guide. Because they are, all of us are guardians. The higher beings, they are guardians. So, brethren, next teachings or next episode, we will continue from the fourth plane or the sixth dimension. Today, we did 1, 2, 3, up to 4. That's the spiritual dimension. That is mastering your emotions. We will continue at that time. Peace and love unto you. Never joke with the soul. I've told you, life is not about the eating, about the drinking, about the fun, about the entertainment, about the music, about the movies. No, they feed you this more to take your mind away from developing your soul and gaining scientific knowledge. It is time for you to look for who you are. It is time for you to develop your soul and leave the world Leave the material things. This is the reason why in Christianity or Christendom, they tell you when you get all in the world and you lose your soul. That's the reason why they wrote that in the Bible, but they themselves don't understand it. Today I'm giving you the reality. I'm teaching you the reality. Do not be deceived. Make sure you develop your soul, because that is who you are. The real you is the soul. And the power comes from the soul, because out of the soul that you can create, it's out of the soul that become God. So if your soul is strong, physically it becomes stronger. May the peace of the Most High be with you now and forevermore. Peace and love unto you all. Peace and love unto the redeemed and the golden builders. Peace. I say peace.